Hello, and welcome to Oregon FBLA and the State Business Leadership Conference registration processes. Let's get started. And the first thing we need to do is click on Conferences. Come down to the State Business Leadership Conference area. We'll find the when and the wheres here, and we'll also find a link that takes us to a resource page, but more specifically, it takes us to a bookmark to the direct State Business Leadership Conference area. I would strongly encourage you to go ahead and bookmark this page in whichever browser you use. You can see I've already done so, and that will allow you to come back to this area if you need to take a break from the registration process or just for your future reference. You'll see that this area is divided into 3 different types of links. We have our resources, our forms, and our reports, and we'll address each type of resource. Our first and most important resource is, of course, our state conference guide. Whether this is your first conference or your 31st conference, please take a moment to read through this guide, noting some of the changes that are taking place. Take a look at the deadlines, noting that there's a separate conference registration deadline from the event submission deadlines. Our conference fee schedule. Here's a list of our deadlines and what's due when. Deadlines are not suggestions, so make sure you follow those. A short registration checklist. If you have questions, this is an important area, and please don't hesitate to use that contact information. There is a change fee and a late registration fee that starts at 5 p.m. on February 24th, so please be sure that you make note of that. Information about our conference housing, our 3 conference hotels. Our housing form is available early, or the Excel spreadsheet form is available early. It's available right now. And the new policy in place that any chapter that elects not to stay at one of our official conference hotels will be assessed an additional fee of $75 per attendee. Again, our tentative agenda, and I'm on page 9 of 32. Each of these 32 pages has very important information, so please take some time and read over that, especially our competitive event information, noting that there are some variances in Oregon FBLA versus the national handbook, and you can find more information about that in our competitive events section of our resource page. Our rooming list worksheet is ready. Click on it. It's a spreadsheet. Download it. And as you get your students ready, you can put them into rooms with their preferred roommates. And this will be the information that you will submit on our housing reservation forms, which opens at 7:30 a.m. Pacific time on March 31st. Please note, I'm going to go ahead and click on that. It is not open yet. It will open automatically at that time. And it is a first come, first serve type process, but it's also like playing a great big Tetris game to get all the chapters accommodated. So please mark that on your calendars and be ready to submit your information. So the next forms are indicated by their level of importance and their suggested submission. Step 1 is a chapter registration form. This will register your chapter for the conference and give us the numbers that you intend to bring that we will cross-reference and work with in various ways. So the first thing you need to select is your chapter name. Select the advisor who is taking the lead on the registration process. This is not their registration. It's just an indication on which advisor in your school, if you have multiple advisors, is taking the lead on the registration process. How many students are coming? there's a drop down. It does go to 175. If you need more than 175 students, be sure to let me know. This chapter is going to bring 10, and you notice that a total has appeared in the upper right-hand area of the screen. Advisors and chaperones do pay the registration fee, starting with the 2017 SBLC. However, if you have a chaperone that is coming that is also judging, do not register him or her through this process, and do not include them in this count. If they are judging, they need to fill out the judge information form and will receive their badges when they check in for their judging. Their badges will not be with your chapter, and they will not receive a t-shirt. If badges and t-shirt are important to receive them when you check in, go ahead and register them as a chaperone. The school is going to bring, that's a little bit of overkill for 10 students, but they are going to bring 2 advisors, and then you select your payment type. Check or credit card. I'm going to select credit card, and please note at this point, it doesn't matter which you select, whether it's check or credit card, it's going to automatically kick you to PayPal when you hit submit. It's okay, you can just click the X and click out of it. But if you are paying by credit card, have that credit card information ready, and you can go ahead and pay at that time. Each chapter is required to have 1 student that is either volunteered or voluntold to participate in our courtesy corps. Joe Smith is going to participate. It is important that we actually have Joe Smith's actual contact information, particularly mobile phone numbers, because we do need to contact these students on site for their assignment times and any changes. We do have a courtesy corps person that coordinates all this. It's an alumni of FBLA, and we just want to make sure that we can get in touch with these students and let them know what their assignments are. So when you hit submit, again, it's going to take us straight to PayPal. And if you're paying by credit card, go ahead and fulfill the process. If you're not paying by PayPal, it's very easy just to click the X and go on to step 2. Step 2 is the chapter advisor and chaperone. You need to fill out one of these forms for every advisor and every chaperone coming, with the exception of a chaperone who might be judging. I'm going to fill this in. The email. Email is important. We definitely need advisor emails. If you have chaperones coming, feel free to put in their emails. It'll automatically generate a copy of this form to them. If you want all those forms to go to you, feel free to put in your email. And then select the t-shirt size needed. Hit submit. Now, this form's going to reset. Don't worry, the information was taken, but it's just, this was set this way in the assumption that most schools will have more than 1 advisor or chaperone attending, and we wanted to make it as easy as possible so that you did not have to do a lot of clicking back and forth. However, if you have entered all of your advisors, you can go back to the SBLC area by clicking here, and it takes us back to the state conference area where we're ready for step 3, student registration. Some things you need as you start student registration are student's name. As you enter student's name, be aware that how you enter that name is how it's going to appear on name tags. It's how it will appear on screen for any awards, so make sure that it's spelled how you want it to be spelled and the capitalization you wish to use. You will also need each student's membership ID number. You need to have that ready from the National Membership Database. If you have 2 screens, I would encourage you to consider having one screen open to your roster so you can just cut and paste those ID numbers. You're also going to need to know the t-shirt size of every student, and if they're on a team, which team are they on if you have more than one team. So for example, if you have one 3D animation team, all of your students are going to be on 3D animation team 1. If you have 5 banking and financial teams, you need to know which students are on team 1, which students are on team 2, which students are on team 3, and so forth, so that they can be properly registered in the correct team. So we're going to go ahead and register a student. Alex is membership number. Alex wears a large. We're going to come down to the competitive event registration and take a look at these events. If a student is in these events, registration's in a separate place. Most of these are chapter events or events that are handled separately. So you will not enter them here for those events. And Who's Who for FBLA is also entered in a separate area, as it's a recognition event and not a strict competitive event. So we get to the meat of the competitive event registration area. So competitive event 1, this needs to be where you enter any event that they have where there is a performance. If they are doing anything that involves a performance or a potential of a performance, enter it in competitive event 2. If they're just doing 2 online tests, it doesn't matter whether it's event 1 or event 2 that you enter them in, but if it's a performance, it must be in competitive event 1. So Alex, he's in 3D animation team 3, but he is also doing cybersecurity. The next 2 areas are for any member of Oregon FBLA, regardless of age, class, number of other events. Everyone has opportunity to do electronic career portfolio. That is a presentation event where they present a online portfolio, and future business leader where they submit cover letter and resume, and where they take a test and have an interview as a preliminary round. So everybody can do these. Alex is very ambitious. He's going to do all 4. He's going to do these 4. He does not have any accommodations, but if you have a student that needs accommodation in testing or other area, please be sure to list that here. The last field is one that is not marked as required, but I cannot recommend it strongly enough, and it is your email. It gives you an automatically generated record of what you have submitted for your records. Please consider doing this for every registration you have so that you have it for your records. I'm going to hit submit now. You notice that it comes back to a blank form. That's okay. That's what it's supposed to do, because we do assume that you have more than 1 student to register. And to keep it as easy as it is for you, we've had it just circle back here. However, if you have registered all of your students, just click here, and it's going to take you back to the state area. Now, if you have made an error on the chapter registration, on advisor registration, on student registration, don't submit another form. Please do not submit another form. Submit a change form. Select the school. There's no student name, but if it was an event, if it was a student registration or advisor registration, we put a name in. So, but we need to change our chapter summary. Please change to 8 students attending instead of 10. Again, I would strongly encourage you to put your advisor email. In fact, that is a required area on this form, so that you have a record of the request of the change that will be time-stamped for you in case there's any question later on. So this has been submitted, and it will automatically take you back to our resource area. So step 5 is now our PDF online submission form. So we're going to choose our school name. And for every one of these events, you would need to submit a different form. So if you have an American Service Project and a community service and a Who's Who and a partnership, you need to submit a different form for every single one of those. So we're going to submit a job interview, and Alex, let's see, future business leader, and Alex Johnson is in that event, and I'm going to upload a form here. And actually, Alex might have uploaded a resume and a cover letter. You might have done them both in one PDF. You have more if needed. And then advisor email. This will give you a record of what has been submitted. And go back to our bookmarked page. And then we go to URL submissions. One thing about any event with our URLs, it's very important to note that you want to copy and paste. You don't just want to type in the URL. I have seen at many different levels of FBLA competition where an advisor has typed in a URL or had a student fill out the form and type in a URL and it be wrong. And that student receives 0 points because the URL was incorrect. Even though it might be a beautiful website, if the URL is not correct, it's sent to the judges, they're never going to be able to see it or open it. So just copy and paste that into the URL information. I do suggest that you keep your videos private / unpublished, but not so that where they need a password or ID. However, if you do, be sure to include that information, because just like the URL being incorrect, if the advisor, if the judges can't access that information, the student will not receive a grade because the judges can't see anything. So make sure that you include any of that information. And click submit. You will need to add your advisor email. And you'll see other forms now: Advisor of the Year, Administrator of the Year, Alumni of the Year, Business Person, our Chapter of the Year, Competitive Event Sponsorship, Judge Volunteers, March of Dimes, National Business Honor Roll, National Anthem, SBLC Workshops, and Retiring Advisors. We come to our report area. So these are in live time of what has been submitted. So let's take a look at the chapter summary report. Baker High School has been used a lot as the test subject, and these will all be erased. And then you can see how many they've submitted, how many advisors, and the payment type. This is all the information that's available. You can see there's no cell phone number, email that's available, but it is the chapter and the number. Now, if there end up being a whole lot of chapters here, these top fields are toggles. So if you have a chapter that's towards the end of the alphabet, just toggle the chapter name and it'll sort in reverse. These are toggles for you. Take a look at the advisor and chaperone data. And again, these are toggles. But you just see the name and the school. You don't see any of the additional information, no t-shirt sizes, nothing of that nature. Student registration data. You're going to see the school name, the first name of the student and their membership ID, and then the list of their events. We haven't put last names for students in this area, just for privacy sakes. And then electronic career portfolio, future business leader, and then the timestamp. Change requests are also published. As these changes are made, this form will grow shorter and shorter. And as we start actually completing change requests, the completed request you'll be able to view here, and you'll also be able to know that changes are completed when you check reports and see those updates. So our PDF submission, you can see the name and the competitive event submitted for. You don't see student names or that information, and you definitely don't see the PDFs that were submitted because this is a competition and you don't want to share your secrets. URL submission, same thing. You're going to see the name and the competitive event, but you will not see student names or the URL. be able to check your chapter of the year and March of Dimes as well. Now, PDF submission, another thing to note, there are a lot of events that come in here, so you can sort by event when you get ready to do that. So just know that we've tried to make it as easy as possible for that. As we're thinking about our competitive events, be sure to review all the information in the competitive event area. And utmost, if you have questions, please do not hesitate to contact the state office. Contact me at carla@oregonfbla.org or by my phone information that's found in the competitive event guide and on our website and in my signature line of every email. We look forward to seeing you at SBLC. Have a great day.